It's nobody's favorite time of the week again. It's Ask a Rabbi Wednesday, and it's actually Wednesday this time. I received the following question from Benjamin Frisch from Jenkinstown, Pennsylvania, at JewishAnswers.org a few months ago. And this young man, he said he happens to be born Jewish, but the question is how, where were the souls at Mount Sinai of converts, and does race play a role in Judaism? That's his question. I said it's a very good question. We have a medrash, it's generally accepted, that says that the souls of future converts were with us at Sinai, and there are other midrashim and Kabbalistic versions, different things, different approaches to this idea, but in general we say that the converts were with us at Mount Sinai. Even if you want to take a rational approach to it, the potential by wherewith the converts received their conversions, the potential energy came from Sinai, because you can't really convert by yourself. You need to have this conferred on you by Bezdin, essentially in the halachic sense that's totally recognized by everyone, in order to be accepted by the community. So therefore, yes, the converts were at Sinai. I brought up in relation to this a very interesting thing. The Jewish religion allows non-Jews to worship in their sanctuaries, particularly in ancient times when we had the temple or the tabernacle, our ancient sanctuaries. Non-Jews were allowed to bring a burnt offering as an offering to the Jewish God, even if they belonged to other religions and worshipped other gods. But they wanted to, for sure, if they only believed in one God, that's for sure. But even if they violated God's law, they worship other gods, but they wanted to show respect to the Jewish God, they were allowed to offer offerings, and they would be accepted, barring other issues with the actual sacrifice. But if it's a sacrifice that would be accepted, it doesn't have a mum, doesn't have any blemish, it would be brought on the altar by the priest, even though it was given by a non-Jew. Now, however, a Jew who worships idols is not allowed to bring a sacrifice in the Jewish temple. The Satmar Rebbe says that's what it says, and he brings us in Divrei Yoel in Parshas Vayikra, the first parsha in Leviticus. It says Leviticus starts Adam ki yakrav mikem. The second verse of Leviticus, when a human being brings an offering from among you, so that means that it's like this. This is the way the Satmar Rebbe teaches it. A Gentile who worships idols could bring a sacrifice in the temple. A Jew who worships idols cannot. A Jew must be loyal to Judaism in order to bring sacrifice in the temple. Now, what about a convert who's choser l'suro? He or she converts, and then they go back to their old religion. Do they go back to being a Gentile, and therefore, even though they worship another religion, they could bring a sacrifice? Or do they remain a Jew, and they can't bring the sacrifice until they repent of their idolatry? And the answer is, they are a Jew forever. They never go back to being a Gentile. So that shows that they are fully Jewish, even if they give up the Jewish religion. Now, to the point where they're excluded by virtue of being Jewish, you understand? Meaning, they're Jewish to the point that they're not Gentiles. The way I always explain is that they're non-Gentiles. Also, anyone born Jewish or not born Jewish, is no difference. If they practice a different religion, or they don't believe in God, or they don't believe in the Torah, they're heretics. They don't believe God gave the Torah, or whatever. Such a person doesn't count for a minyan. Such a person, if they touch kosher wine that wasn't cooked, it becomes not kosher, just like a Gentile. However, so they're kind of in a limbo state. They're not fully Jewish without repenting of their heresy. They're not fully Gentile in as much as that they could not bring a sacrifice in the temple, and they're also not fully Gentile that they they could marry someone Jewish, and it would be a valid wedding. And it doesn't matter if they converted or they're born Jewish, the same thing. So therefore, that's the situation. Well, the question of the minyan, generally we see if someone walks into shul, you assume at least for that moment they repented of their sins and they're accepted in the minyan. Now, if you make a minyan outside of a shul, it's a whole different question. There is a tshuva from Ramosha that says that even a total heretic could be counted. It's very controversial because not everyone agrees to this, but that for a davar shebekedusha, he brings a strong proof from this. As far as martyrdom, I'm not to get into that right now. The second part of the question, but that's the point, is that someone who converts to Judaism is 100% Jewish, and they never go back to being a Gentile. That's why I want to bring this. Now, the question of race in Judaism. As far as being Jewish, the convert is fully Jewish. As far as belonging to a tribe, the convert himself does not belong to any tribe. A woman who converts, however, she becomes the tribe of her husband. However, a woman who converts cannot marry a priest. And if she would, the children would not be priests. The children would be Jewish, though. But if they were Levites or so forth, a Levite marries a convert woman, the children are Levites. As long as she converted before they had relations, before the child was conceived. If she converted while pregnant, then the children are Jewish, but they wouldn't have the tribal lineage of their father, the child, or I guess if there's multiple children, whatever. But the point that I want to bring, the question of race, is that the children of converts could marry priests. So meaning in the second generation, so there is no racism in Judaism, meaning a couple, they convert together, their children, their daughter, according to most opinions, and certainly grandchildren ever, they could marry a priest. And so therefore, two people who are not Jewish, they could have a grandchild who's a priest and even be the high priest. Back in the old days when they had a high priest. Now we don't have. Same thing with the king. The king could not be a convert. The king himself is not allowed to be a convert. However, he could be a child of converts if the converts marry into the royal family, and even the royal family themselves from Judah, from David, comes from a woman who converted, from Ruth, who comes from Moab, who was a whole controversy about how they could marry in. You see, the women were allowed to marry and the men were not, but even the men could convert. And so therefore, ultimately, I mean, even it says B'nei Banav Shalhaman Lamater B'nei Brak, that Haman, the wicked Haman, his own his own grandchildren converted to Judaism and became great rabbis. So there's nothing to hold anyone of any race back from being Jewish, and even racially, eventually, their grandchildren, with a few exceptions that don't exist anymore today, not that they don't apply anymore today, that will never apply again, they're totally gone. There's no one who could be excluded from being Jewish. Meaning, the question came up in the Talmud, where a man says he's from Moab and he converted. You're not a Moabite. You're not the original Moabites. So therefore, you're allowed to marry someone born Jewish. That's because Sennacherib came and mixed up all the nations. So, all right, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. So the answer is then that there is no issue of race in Judaism. Anybody of any race can not only be 100% Jewish, but even when you go at least 2 generations, at least 2 grandchildren, even the children, perhaps they could, because a woman who converts, she could marry right away to the royal family. Many of the kings married converts. David, his son Solomon, married many converts. So there's no problem in that, and that's where, that's the answer. That's where that really there is no issue of race in the Jewish religion. All right, please like, share, and subscribe. And so therefore there's no prohibition against interracial marriage in Judaism, as long as they're both Jewish. Someone converts, they can marry, especially if they're sincere and they really take Judaism seriously. Definitely, there's no question. I'm not going to get into controversial issues right now. All right, thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe, and please feel free to comment. And if you have more questions for future episodes, don't hesitate to reach out to us. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, all that. All right, God bless. Take care.